For 6 years, I was Kevin Hayes's bird in a gilded cage. I never left his side. Until one day he suddenly took me on a trip and abandoned me on a street in a foreign country. After I was mugged, Kevin ignored my desperate call for help. He sent a text. "Don't call again. You'd better get over this needy, immature attitude of yours. Be good. Otherwise, you can forget about me coming to get you. I won't call again." I turned off my phone and lay in a pool of my own blood, waiting, just like he told me to. But even as my breathing stopped, Kevin still hadn't come. When the knife went in, I was still clutching the ring to my chest. Kevin bought this ring for me. It was a matching set with the one he wore. I couldn't lose it. If he came back for me and found it gone, he'd be angry. The mugger stabbed me a few more times, muttered a curse, and ran off. It didn't hurt that much. I was just bleeding. A lot. I tried to cover the wounds with my hands. Panicked, I tried to figure it out. Why would Kevin just leave me here without a word? Did something urgent come up? It must have. He wouldn't do this to me on purpose. I was afraid the mugger would come back, so I didn't dare scream. I just used the last of my strength to pull out my phone and call Kevin. After a long series of rings, the call went to voicemail. Then Kevin sent a text. "Don't call again. You'd better take this chance to get over this needy, immature attitude of yours. Be good. Otherwise, you can forget about me coming to get you." A moment ago, I was worried something bad had happened to Kevin. Thank God. It looks like he's okay. So I turned off my phone. I curled up and lay in the pool of blood, waiting just like he told me. Don't be needy. Don't be immature. Don't call Kevin. I repeated Kevin's commands over and over in my head. If I'm good, Kevin will come get me. But I was losing more and more blood. I couldn't stop it, no matter how hard I pressed. "Kevin, when are you coming back for me? I don't think I can wait much longer." In a daze, I heard footsteps rushing toward me. Is that Kevin? He must be here to get me. I tried to lift my head but saw a terrifying face instead. It was the mugger. He was back, and he was holding a huge burlap sack. He stuffed me into the bag, threw me into a car. As I was being dragged into the ocean, I heard my phone ringing. Is that Kevin? A wave of regret washed over me. It seemed I'd missed the one call I'd been waiting for. I never even got to ask him why he left me. I'll never see him again. I drifted in and out of consciousness. I don't know how much time passed. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at the entrance of Kevin's mansion. Sweet, cheerful music drifted out from inside. I walked closer. I watched my body pass silently, without resistance, through the massive front door. It slowly dawned on me. I was dead. But why did I come back here? It was the complete opposite of the cold, deep sea I had just been in. Inside, guests mingled, their glasses clinking. The grand hall was filled with warmth and dazzling light. Under the crystal chandelier, Kevin stood tall and elegant, holding a champagne flute. On his finger was a new ring I'd never seen before. The one that matched mine was gone. Kevin was surrounded by lavishly dressed guests, laughing and chatting. They were congratulating him, wishing him a long and happy life with his bride. I stood there stunned. The most out-of-place decoration in the room. Kevin was getting married. So that's why. He left me abroad, so he could come back for his own engagement party. But why did he have to lie? Kevin, of all people, should never lie. In my mind, Kevin was different from everyone else. He had never lied to me. When I was little, my parents said they'd be with me forever. But they didn't keep their promise. They died when I was 8. My aunt and uncle took me in. They told my grandparents they would use my inheritance to take care of me. But they took all my money and wouldn't even take me to the hospital when I was sick. After I finally broke the fever on my own, I became a little slow. My aunt and uncle called me an idiot. The moment I turned 18, they kicked me out. It was Kevin who found me and took me home. His house was huge, clean, and beautiful. Somehow, he got my parents' inheritance back. He even made sure my aunt and uncle went to jail. Kevin was so good to me. He hired tutors to teach me, saying he'd send me to a university abroad one day. I stopped thinking. I looked up at him and asked, "Will you go with me, Kevin?" He thought for a moment. Then he nodded. "I will." He tapped the tip of my nose and smiled. "Larry, why are you so clingy?" Kevin had sharp features. He looked serious when he wasn't smiling, but his smile was stunning. I loved seeing him smile, but I was worried I'd done something wrong. My eyes welled up. Is being clingy a bad thing? This time, Kevin didn't hesitate. "No," he said quickly. "I love it when you're clingy with me, Larry." He used to love it. So why was it a bad habit I needed to fix now? I walked up to Kevin and looked him in the eye. But the question that came out was, why did you lie to me? If there was a future, I could have learned not to be so clingy. But why did you have to lie? Kevin didn't answer, but his eyes suddenly shot up, looking right at me. Just as I thought he could see me, he held out his hand to the old butler behind me. "Get my phone." The butler quickly handed it to him. "Young Master Larry called you many times a short while ago, sir. Will you be calling him back?" "No need." Kevin took the phone, his expression cold. "After I'm married, it won't be convenient for him to be by my side all the time. This will be a good lesson for him. He'll have to get used to it." Kevin frowned and continued. "He's been with me too long, spoiled. He's become too clingy, too willful. He calls me nonstop over every little thing. So, being in mortal danger in a foreign country was just a little thing." Kevin had just started dialing a number when he was interrupted. "Kevin?" His mother walked over, holding a glass of champagne. Her tone was chiding. "An engagement is such an important day. You were already late, and now you're glued to your phone?" "That boy," she said, her expression indifferent, her tone businesslike. "Have you handled him? Don't let him cause a scene during an important family event. Play around before the wedding, fine. But you need to treat Claire well after you're married. There's no need to upset the Booth family over some simple-minded boy." Kevin put his phone away. "Mother, it's best you don't worry about my affairs," he said coldly. Despite the festive atmosphere, there wasn't a trace of a smile on his face. "It's just a business arrangement. Claire knows about Larry. I won't be living with her after the wedding. Nothing will change." "Will nothing really change? But after he's married, we shouldn't be together anymore. Even I know that's wrong." Kevin turned and walked away. I stared blankly at his retreating back. "If you had just explained it to me, I would have left quietly. You didn't need to go to all the trouble of abandoning me abroad." Suddenly, I felt a strange sensation. Kevin's mother had walked right through me. She answered her phone, her voice low. "Didn't I tell you to take the money and leave? Why are you calling me again?" "I'll handle Mr. Hayes. Your job is to disappear completely." I floated closer. Just before she hung up, I heard the voice on the other end. It was my personal bodyguard. He was supposed to stay by my side at all times. But after Kevin left, he had vanished too. Why? Would he be calling Kevin's mother? This was too strange. Could my accident have something to do with her? As I wondered, Kevin suddenly appeared behind his mother. His face was grim. His sharp features looked even colder and more intimidating. "Who are you talking to?" His mother's face instantly darkened. "Do you know who you're speaking to? Whatever it is, it can wait until after the party." She glanced over at the bride, trying her best to maintain her composure. "You should be with Claire right now." I followed her gaze. I saw a girl with long hair in a pure white gown. I knew that was Kevin's future wife. She was beautiful today, a perfect match for Kevin. But Kevin didn't move. He didn't do as his mother said. The tension was palpable. Suddenly, the butler came down from the second floor. He whispered to Kevin, "Sir, there's a problem with the cake you asked me to order for Larry." In the second floor study, Kevin walked slowly to the window and lit a cigar. He seemed to relax a bit, a small smile playing on his lips. What problem could he have? The second he sees a chestnut cake, he forgets about everything else. The butler looked worried. I asked the hotel to send the cake up to his room, but they just called back and said young Master Larry hasn't returned to the hotel yet. Kevin's hand froze for a second. Impossible. He opened his phone and went to his messages. I texted him. He would have gone back to the hotel to wait for the cake. I stood beside Kevin. I saw the text conversation between us on his screen. So, before I was thrown into the sea, he had only sent me a text. Stop throwing a tantrum. Be good and go back to the hotel with the bodyguard. I ordered your favorite chestnut cake for you. Kevin stared at the screen. He must have remembered something too, because a faint smile appeared. He had that same expression the first time he brought me a chestnut cake. It was 2 winters ago. By then, I trusted Kevin completely and was used to living with him. On weekends when I didn't have class, he would take me to his office. I would read quietly, keeping him company in his top-floor office while he worked. When it was time to go home, we'd leave together for dinner. But one day, Kevin's mother showed up at the company with a large group of people. Kevin hid me in the office supply closet. 15 minutes, he promised. Larry, I'll be back for you in 15 minutes. That day, Kevin was late. He didn't come back after 15 minutes. I sat in the small, cramped closet, hugging my knees, waiting quietly. Darkness fell. Long after closing time, Kevin finally appeared. He opened the door and said, I'm sorry, did you get tired of waiting? I looked up at him, frowning, and said slowly, Kevin, you're late. You're late by 7,232 seconds. My legs had just fallen asleep, and it hurt to stand up. I wasn't angry, but Kevin kept looking at me. He apologized again and again, kissing me softly. In the end, he went way out of his way to buy me my favorite chestnut cake. He smiled gently. Being late is a very bad thing. So I'm apologizing with a chestnut cake. Larry, can you forgive me? I stared at him for a moment. I took a bite of the cake he offered me before saying, okay. Soon, I forgot all about those 7,232 seconds. I went back to believing his promises without a doubt. Kevin thought it was all because of the chestnut cake. It wasn't. Even if there had been no cake, or if it had been any other flavor, I wouldn't have been mad at him, because even though being late is a bad thing, Kevin was the exception, and Larry was good at waiting quietly. But what about this time? The sky was completely dark now, and Kevin still hadn't come for me. He didn't know yet. He would never find me. The music downstairs was still playing. He turned off his phone screen and said to the butler with conviction, he must be in the room. Just have the hotel knock on the door. Just as Kevin was about to head downstairs, the butler hurried after him again. The hotel just called, he said urgently. They're knocking, but there's no answer. He's in a foreign country all alone. What if something's happened to him? Kevin's face darkened. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. After a long, unanswered ring, he scoffed, his tone turning harsh. He's gotten bold. Won't answer my texts, won't open the door, and now he won't even let the bodyguard answer his phone. If he doesn't want it, then he'll never get it again. He turned slightly to the butler. Tell the hotel to throw the cake away. I'd like to see just how long he can keep this tantrum up. I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I thought to myself, but it's true, I'll never get to eat chestnut cake again. If I didn't get to eat the cake, does that mean I don't have to forgive you? As I thought this, a sharp pain started in my chest. I knew I should leave this place, but before I could even get downstairs, the butler ran up to Kevin holding a phone. He said sheepishly, I'm sorry, sir. I meant to call the hotel but dialed young Master Larry's number by mistake. You should probably take this. Kevin looked annoyed and stared at the screen for several seconds. But he answered it. No one's going to pick up, I said silently, unless, a second before it went to voicemail, the ringing stopped. My phone, the call connected. Larry. Kevin said my name in a low voice. There was no response from the other side. Only the gentle sound of waves. Kevin heard it. His voice turned fierce. Get back to the hotel with the bodyguard. Right now. If you keep acting like this, I'm really going to leave you for good. The moment he finished, the call was abruptly disconnected. Kevin clenched his jaw. He let out a bitter laugh. He dares to hang up on me now. Larry, you're going to regret this. Then he told the butler, postpone the private jet until tomorrow. We're not flying tonight. If he won't listen, he can wait another night. Back in the main hall, the party was winding down. Kevin walked his guests to the door. He noticed dark clouds rolling in. It looked like it was about to rain. A stretch Bentley pulled up to the front of the mansion. Kevin's mother pushed Claire toward him. "Kevin, why don't you take Claire home first?" she said with a smile. "Make sure she doesn't get caught in the rain." With everyone watching, Kevin glanced at his mother and didn't refuse. He held an umbrella for his fiancée like a gentleman as they both got into the car. I didn't want to go with them, but my soul felt tethered to him, trapped by his side. The rain began to pour, drumming on the roof of the car. The heavy sound filled the quiet car. Claire broke the silence. "What about your little friend? Is he still abroad?" When Kevin nodded, she teased him with a smile. "You've been checking your phone all night, Mr. Hayes. Anxious to get back to him? Have you figured out how you're going to smooth things over?" Kevin lowered his eyes. "There's no need to smooth things over. You can't," he said with a cold laugh. "I've spoiled him rotten these past few years. This is a good chance to let him cool off. He can't live without me, anyway. It won't be long before he calls me, crying and playing the victim. I've already left, and I won't be calling again." I sat beside him, saying the words no one could hear. After Claire got out of the car, Kevin headed back alone. He sat in the back seat, slipping off the engagement ring. He took out the ring that matched mine from his breast pocket. But the moment he put it on, the ring, which had been perfectly fine, suddenly snapped. A soft click. The broken ring fell at Kevin's feet. He picked it up and saw the clean break. The air in the car felt stuffy. Kevin loosened his tie and rolled down the window. The sound of the rain immediately filled the space. A few drops passed through me and landed on his hand. Kevin frowned. He raised his hand and tossed the broken ring out the window. The ring passed through my chest, leaving no trace, but I felt a sharp pain. The ring I tried so hard to protect. How could you just throw it away so easily? Just like you threw me away. By the time the Bentley returned to the mansion, the rain had stopped. The moment Kevin got out of the car, he saw the old butler rushing out, his face etched with panic. At the same time, his phone started to ring. Kevin picked it up and saw my number. A small smile touched his lips. He answered, his voice cold. "Have you learned your lesson? Hello?" An unfamiliar voice on the other end spoke in a foreign language. "This is the French police. Do you know the owner of this phone?" Kevin froze on the spot. He seemed stunned for a moment. Then he calmly replied, "Yes, I do. Is there a problem?" "We've just arrested a drug addict, and we found this phone on him," the officer said. "We suspect it was stolen and would like to contact the owner to return it." Hearing this, Kevin let out an almost imperceptible sigh of relief and started walking toward the house again. "I see. Please have the phone sent to the Intercontinental Hotel in the city center." "Thank you." The old butler rushed to meet him. The hotel called, "Sir." They said, "There's no one in young Master Larry's room." "You don't think something's really happened to him, do you?" Kevin smiled reassuringly. "Nothing's happened. He's at the beach. His phone just got stolen. He probably got mad after hanging up on me, threw his phone away, and someone picked it up." The butler frowned and whispered, "Young Master Larry has such a gentle nature. He never gets angry. I don't think he'd throw his phone away." He glanced at Kevin's expression, then relaxed. "But it's true, he does love the beach. He'll probably head back to the hotel after he's had his fun." Kevin nodded, seeming lost in thought. "He's always wanted to go to the pier in LA. He said we had to ride the Ferris wheel there at night." He smiled, as if remembering something. His voice was gentle with a hint of fondness. "He's still such a kid." Actually, over the past few years, Kevin had taken me on the Ferris wheel many times. The first time he asked me, "Why do you like riding the Ferris wheel so much?" I said, "When I was little, my mom and dad would take me on the Ferris wheel every weekend. After that, I never went again, because after that, my parents died. On holidays, my aunt and uncle would only take their own kids out to play, leaving me at home alone. But I didn't want to ride the Ferris wheel with them anyway." "Because you didn't like them?" Kevin asked. I nodded. "Then why do you want to ride it with me now?" Kevin asked again. The Ferris wheel turned slowly. The colorful lights wrapped around the cabin flickered, illuminating Kevin's face. I turned and looked up at him. I suspected he already knew the answer, so I didn't say anything. Later, I was sure of it, because Kevin didn't press me for an answer. Instead, when we reached the very top, he kissed me. Because I love you. That's what I said. In my heart. The Ferris wheel? I'll take him tomorrow, Kevin said suddenly. I stood behind him, pulled back from my memories. But there is no tomorrow. Kevin would never get to take me to the pier in LA and ride that giant Ferris wheel at night. Kevin went back to the study. He tried calling the bodyguard several more times, but the calls wouldn't go through. Then he called his assistant and told him to find a way to contact the bodyguard and ask why he'd been out of touch for so long. Kevin was furious. He said it was a serious dereliction of duty and that he would fire the bodyguard the moment he landed tomorrow. About half an hour later, the assistant called back. Mr. Hayes, there seems to be a problem with Larry's bodyguard. A large sum of money was deposited into a new account of his 3 days ago, and he has already left the country. The bodyguard really was the problem. My heart suddenly started to pound. I had a feeling the truth about my accident was about to be revealed. A flicker of surprise crossed Kevin's eyes. He asked calmly, "Where did he go?" According to his flight change information, he should be on his way back to the States, the assistant replied. I see. Kevin's face darkened instantly. It must have been Larry. He made the bodyguard bring him back. He hung up the phone. He slammed his phone down on the desk in frustration. The butler came in with a glass of hangover soup. Do you think young Master Larry heard something? Did he know you were getting engaged? Maybe he thought you were hiding it from him, and his feelings were hurt? Kevin thought for a moment, then said, what does he know about hurt feelings? It's just a child's possessiveness. He's too simple-minded to understand what a strategic marriage is. So, Kevin thought I was an idiot too. I stood in the corner of the room, far away from him. I'm an idiot, I thought to myself, but my love isn't possessiveness. I know how to love someone. It means, if you need something, I will do my best to make it happen. If you needed a strategic marriage, if you needed to get married, then I would do my best to leave you, so I wouldn't be a bother. Actually, before we left the country, I did overhear some rumors at the office. The employees would huddle together, looking at me with disdain or pity, saying things like, what's the use of being good-looking? How can he compare to an heiress, and the heir plays the field? He can handle both at once. Things like that. I didn't believe any of it. I only trusted what Kevin told me himself. Fools are good at trusting the ones they love, and those who think they're smart are good at doubting. Kevin didn't trust me. He thought I would ruin his marriage. So, did he still love me? For the first time, I started to learn how to doubt. The engagement party is over now. It shouldn't be a problem for him to come back, right? The butler tried to reason with him. Sir, don't be too angry with him. Kevin's expression remained stern. No, he said coldly. First, he refuses to answer my texts and hangs up on me. Now he's colluding with his bodyguard to come back without my permission. He needs to be taught a lesson this time. He ordered, take all of Larry's things from the master bedroom and move them to the guest room on the second floor. When he gets back, tell him he can only move back in with me when he's learned to behave. The servants moved quickly. I stood to the side, numbly watching as my belongings were cleared out. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. 1,000 Lego pieces exploded across the floor. It was the cottage. The cozy cottage that Kevin and I had spent hundreds of nights building together was shattered. The tiny LED light that lit up the inside fell out of its socket. Quickly dimmed. Kevin, can we leave the light on forever, please? I had asked him that right after we placed the last piece. He looked into my eyes. Of course, he'd said with a playful smile. It'll be like we're really living inside. That way, whenever I see the light on, I'll know you're with me, Larry. From now on, it will never light up again. The servant was apologizing profusely. Kevin was stunned for a moment, then said magnanimously, it's fine. We'll just build it again when he gets back. As he said that, his phone rang. He answered it and heard the voice on the other end. "Hello, this is the French police. I'm sorry, we haven't delivered the phone to the hotel yet, because under questioning, the addict we arrested confessed to murdering the owner of this phone." "What did you say?" Kevin seemed completely frozen, as if he didn't understand what he just heard. He stood there, rooted to the spot. His eyes stared blankly at the Lego pieces scattered on the floor. I looked at them too. I felt as if every dream I had for the future, with our little cottage as the backdrop, had just been shattered along with it. The voice on the phone continued. "Was the owner of this phone wearing a white jacket and light blue jeans? The suspect claims that in order to steal his ring, he stabbed the young man multiple times in the abdomen with a dagger and then threw him into the sea. We've already begun a search and rescue operation at sea. Would it be possible for you to come down?" The room became deathly silent, so quiet you could hear Kevin's ragged breathing. After a moment, he suddenly yelled into the phone with a strange calmness. "You're a scammer. Larry is on a plane back to the States right now. Now, you will take that phone back to the hotel immediately, or I will call the police." Kevin hung up, but his fingers were trembling slightly. He crouched down, trying to pick up the Lego pieces from the floor, but he couldn't seem to grasp them. The butler hurried to the door. "Sir, the driver went to the airport, but Larry wasn't there. The airport staff told him Larry never boarded the plane." Kevin roared, "What about the bodyguard? Why wasn't he with Larry? Get him here now." The bodyguard who was supposed to be with me was brought before Kevin. Alone. He was in plain clothes, wearing a fake beard and a baseball cap. He knelt on the floor, terrified. "Mr. Hayes, I'm so sorry. Mr. Hayes, please, spare me. Didn't I tell you to protect Larry and never leave his side?" Kevin grabbed him by the collar and hauled him to his feet. He snarled, "Where is he now?" "I'm sorry," the bodyguard choked out. "It was your mother. Before we left, she came to me. She told me to find a way to leave Larry behind after you left, to make sure he got lost so he could never be found again. That day, I made sure you had driven away from the block. Then I hid in a nearby alley. Larry waited in the shop until dark, then came out looking for you for a long time. He called you, but you didn't answer. I thought it was the perfect opportunity. I ran into a homeless man and I told him." The color drained from Kevin's face. His eyes were bloodshot with fury. "What did you tell him?" The bodyguard sobbed. "I pointed at Larry and told him the phone and ring he had were worth a lot of money. I encouraged him to rob him. I didn't know he had a knife, I swear I didn't." Kevin staggered backward as if he couldn't stand. The bodyguard cried, rambling his confession. "I just wanted him to scare Larry away. I never thought Larry wouldn't give him the ring, even after being stabbed several times. I saw him bleeding so much, just lying there on the ground, not moving. I got so scared, so I ran. I'm sorry. I really didn't think." Kevin lunged forward and punched him to the ground. When he was pulled away, he stumbled back and knocked over a low cabinet. A picture frame on the cabinet fell to the floor. In the photo, my smiling face was fractured by the shattered glass. Kevin glanced at it and suddenly laughed. "Lies. You're all liars. You're lying to me," he snarled, pinning the bodyguard under his foot. "My mother told you to say this, didn't she?" Without waiting for an answer, Kevin bolted downstairs. He stumbled to the front door, whispering my name, "Larry." Then he said to himself, "Once I find Larry, I'll prove you're all liars. I'm not coming back." I watched him run out the door. "Because the one who lied to me," I said silently, "was you." It was daytime when Kevin arrived back in the country. First, he went to the police station to watch the surveillance footage from the scene. Then, he went to the starting point of the search and rescue operation. The wind by the sea was strong. The sky and the ocean were blanketed in a heavy gray. Kevin was still wearing the thin suit he'd left home in. He stood at the spot where I was thrown into the sea, his hands hanging limp at his sides. The rescue boats had already moved far into the distance. All he could see was an endless expanse of monotonous gray. He stared for a long time. The surveillance footage he had watched over and over replayed in his mind. He saw me in my white jacket walk out of the small shop, looking around, calling his name loudly, then taking out my phone. dialing a number, holding it to my ear, then lowering it in disappointment. Not long after, the large mugger appeared. He forced me into an alley, out of the camera's view, with a dagger. He ran out moments later. Kevin remembered the exact time he fled, because 2 minutes after that, he received a call from me, a call he ignored. By then, I had already been stabbed multiple times and was dying. He had rejected my desperate call for help. He even sent me a text, ordering me not to call again, telling me I was immature and needy, threatening not to come get me, and I was always so good, so I never called again. I lay on the ground, waiting for him to find me, but he never came. Instead, I was thrown into the cold, dark sea. At that moment, what was he doing? Oh right, he was already on his private jet, flying back home, hosting his engagement party at his mansion. At that moment, his little Larry must have been in so much pain and so scared. The thought of it felt like his heart was tearing apart. Kevin's breathing became ragged, his eyes turning crimson. He opened his mouth silently. He wanted to call my name, to say something, but his throat felt like it was clogged with hot coals. No sound came out. The pain had no escape. It swelled in his chest, spreading through his entire body. They'll find him, Kevin told himself. They searched all night and found nothing. Larry must have been rescued by a passing boat. Larry has to be alive. A light rain began to fall. The wind by the sea was bone-chilling. He saw several rescue boats returning from the distance. He couldn't help but wade into the water. Did you find him? His heart hammered against his ribs. Kevin was afraid to hear yes, but he was also afraid to hear no. A rescue boat drew near. The weather's turned, a rescuer said. The waves are too rough. We have to suspend the search. No. Kevin blocked the rescuer who was about to get off the boat, screaming hysterically, "Keep looking. You can't stop searching." Another rescuer grabbed his arm. "Sir, if we continue the search, we'll die out here too," he said calmly. "Besides, based on the information from the police, your friend is most likely already dead. His body might have even been eaten by fish." "Shut up. You're fucking lying." Kevin threw a punch, but he was kicked down and held under the water. The seawater felt like 1,000 icy needles, stabbing straight into his bones. Was Larry this cold, too? Kevin thought, and he stopped struggling. As they dragged him up and threw him onto the sand, the last rescue boat approached from the distance. After it docked, the crew carried off a large burlap sack. Kevin scrambled to his feet, then fell again. He ended up on his hands and knees, covered in mud. He looked up, but his vision was blurry. "Impossible," he heard himself say. "It's not him, it's not." The knot on the sack was cut open, revealing the body inside. I was curled up stiffly, my skin pale and bluish from the water. Time and space stood still. The only thing Kevin could hear was a flood of voices in his ears. Happy voices, timid voices, all belonging to me. "Will you go with me, Kevin? Kevin, can we go ride the Ferris wheel, please? Kevin, will you lie to me like they did? Kevin, I want to be with you forever. Kevin." Kevin unconsciously called out, "Larry?" But there was no answer. He crawled over a wreck. He leaned down to look at my eyes. They were closed peacefully, my chin tucked down, protecting the hands clasped over my chest, as if guarding something precious. "You idiot." Kevin forced a laugh, but tears streamed down his face. His voice was hoarse. "Why were you protecting the ring? If someone wanted it, you should have just given it to them." He pressed his forehead against my body, his voice breaking with pain. "You could have given them anything, anything at all. But not you, Larry, not you. I can't give you away." The agony tore Kevin's mind and body in two. One half remained in the past, imagining I was still by his side, just being very quiet. The other half was a hollow shell, mechanically handling the procedures for identifying the body. Kevin brought me back home and set up a memorial in his mansion. The warm hall where the engagement party had been held just days before was now cold and silent. Kevin's mother arrived shortly after. She shrieked, "Kevin, have you lost your mind?" Kevin knelt rigidly beside the casket. He slowly turned his head to look at her. His face was ashen. His eyes filled with utter exhaustion and a chilling coldness. His mother was frightened by his gaze. She took a step back and said sharply, "Look at yourself. What have you become? Grieving and making such a scene over a plaything. How are you going to protect the company your father left you? Get rid of this unlucky mess. Go take a shower. And then invite Claire over for dinner tonight." "Mother." Kevin cut her off, his voice soft. "You are not innocent in Larry's death. The bodyguard you bribed is already in prison. You're next." His mother was stunned. Then she became hysterical. "What did you say? I'm your mother. Everything I did for you. You ungrateful son. Is this how you repay me for raising you all these years?" She stormed in wildly and knocked over the memorial altar. My black and white portrait crashed to the floor. The frame shattered, and shards of glass scattered in front of Kevin. "Repay you?" Kevin muttered to himself, slowly picking up a piece of glass. He raised his hand and slashed it across his right cheek. "No!" His mother screamed. "Stop! You're insane!" She grabbed his hand, which only made him press harder. Blood welled up from the wound, instantly staining his sleeve and hers. "Mother," Kevin said, seeming to feel no pain, his voice calm. "Is this enough?" Then, he held his mother's hand down and cut his face again. 2 deep gashes, down to the bone, now marked his right cheek. The flesh was split open. Blood poured out. His mother was terrified, collapsing to her knees, gasping for air. Kevin looked at her indifferently and asked again, "Is it enough? If it is, then you can wait to face the consequences of the law." I was buried in a cemetery in the southern suburbs. It was quiet, with the sea not far away. On the day of my burial, Kevin's mother was arrested. The news of her arrest made the front page of the financial news. The Hayes Corporation stock plummeted the moment the market opened. After that, Kevin's phone rang nonstop. At first, he would check the caller ID, but eventually he stopped looking altogether. He would just mutter to himself, "It's not Larry calling, so I'm not answering. I'm never gonna call again." I wondered, confused. Wasn't I dead? Buried right here under the headstone next to him? How could Kevin forget? In any case, Kevin became very strange. He would always stay by my grave, whispering about little things. "What do I do, Larry?" I went back to look for my ring. I searched for days, but I can't find it anywhere. "Are you mad at me? I think a piece of the cottage is missing. I can't seem to put it back together right. When can we build it together again? I'll buy you a chestnut cake. Will you forgive me then, please?" Other times, he wouldn't say a word. He would just stare blankly in one direction. The wounds on Kevin's face healed into jagged scars, making him look even more gloomy and cold. Claire found him at the cemetery, holding a bouquet of flowers. "I'm so sorry for your loss," she said. Kevin's vacant eyes stirred. He glanced at her and said in a hoarse voice, "The engagement between our families will be called off soon. Whatever compensation your family wants, you can contact my assistant directly." "I know. That's not why I'm here." Claire placed the flowers in front of my gravestone and said gently, "I met Larry once. We talked." She saw the surprise on Kevin's face and continued, "Your mother invited me to your house. She wanted me to meet him. She probably wanted me to put him in his place or scare him into leaving on his own. But your mother underestimated him. He was sweet and very brave. He tried to act mature and poured me a glass of water, then calmly asked if I was your fiancé. I said yes. I thought he would get angry or start yelling, but he didn't. He frowned and thought for a moment, then asked me very seriously if his existence made me uncomfortable, and said he would leave as soon as possible. He said you saved him out of kindness, so he had to say a proper goodbye and couldn't cause you any trouble." Claire's eyes reddened. That kid even smiled and said he hoped we would be happy together. He didn't realize his smile looked worse than if he had cried. It was so obvious he couldn't bear to leave you, but he was trying so hard to be selfless. It was like he would do anything for you, as long as it was what you needed. She looked at Kevin. Her voice choked with emotion. "Kevin, you screwed up. Do you know that? You lost the person who loved you most in this world." Kevin slid down the gravestone to the ground, curling into a ball. Larry, he whispered hoarsely, I was wrong, Larry, but there was nothing but the wind in his arms. I stood in the wind and felt my soul grow lighter. I said to him silently, it's too late. Forget me. It was my fault. Why did I have to take Larry away? Kevin said in anguish. I told myself I was taking him abroad to protect him from my mother. I knew how ruthless she could be, and I was afraid she would hurt him before my engagement. But the truth is, I was just greedy. Larry was too good. He would never have been the other person in my marriage. I didn't want to lose him, so I kept it from him. I didn't want him to leave me because I was getting married, but I couldn't resist the benefits of the alliance. It's all my fault. I didn't deserve Larry's love, so that's how it was. But the explanation was meaningless now. I had to go. The wind blew a cloud over us. A gray shadow fell over Kevin's broken, defeated back. A moment later, a stronger gust of wind came and carried me away with the cloud. Soon after, I became a small, round sparrow. I had already flown far away, but I could still faintly hear Kevin calling my name. He said, Larry, wait for me. I looked back. I saw a large patch of red spreading out beside my gravestone. I didn't stay. I flew higher and higher, farther and farther away, until that patch of red became a tiny, insignificant dot. A sparrow can fly very high and very fast. It isn't afraid of the harsh cold, even in winter, so it no longer needs the warmth of a human. And with that, he was free.